everyone, and welcome back to Arguably Speaking.
I'm Kiera.
I'm Sarah.
And welcome back to another episode.
Woot woot.
We're so happy you're here today, and we have a lot to catch up on. And we've been doing a little bit of pre-filming for videos. We got some vacation coming up. So the podcasts are coming out still regularly on Wednesdays, but some might be out of order timeline-wise until we get back fresh and brand new for July.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think that I have some pretty exciting news that came a little bit earlier in the week than we usually start, which was on Thursday. We also had a very fun Thursday night.
Yeah.
But the news first was that I, on Wednesday, went to my second tryout for a club ultimate team here, and I thought it went really well. I had a really great time playing. Everyone was vibing. The energy was good. I came back. I was like, oh my gosh, playing sports is the best because you're happy and you feel validated and you feel recognized and you have the competition and it's awesome. And so on Thursday, I found out that I was going to be able to join the team. I made the roster. They asked me to join the team. I'm in a group chat. So I'm very excited. Official. Like, I don't have a number or a jersey yet, but we're basically there.
Well, yeah. I mean, the roster, I feel like, is the most official thing. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like when they post the cast list for like, theater or something, and you see your name.
Exactly like that.
Yeah. Or when you're trying out for any other club or, like, sports or anything, and they pin something on the wall. It's like... Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that was very, very exciting. I was not able to go to the last, like, section of the audition/tryout, and so I got to know a little bit earlier than other people, so it was even, like, more, like, happy, oh my gosh, I know something that no one else knows yet feelings, just because of circumstance and stuff. But yeah, so that happened on Thursday, which was super fun. Also on Thursday...
we had a clothing swap. So, if you don't know what a clothing swap is, the name is fairly self-explanatory. It is exactly what you think it is. People get together their clothes that they are no longer wearing or clothes that are no longer sparking joy for them and bring them together. You get a bunch of people that have lots of different fashion tastes, so you can try something new. And then everybody puts their things out, and once everyone gets there, then you get to pick up new clothes, and you swap all your clothes, and the rest we donate so they can be loved by other people.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. We had a pretty good size of group. I've never done one before, so I don't know if more people or less people works as well, but this was really nice. We had about 6 or 7 people.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of stuff to try on. It was really fun. It was like being in a thrift store, but everything's free. And also, everything has a person who will tell you a story.
Yeah.
You know? And it was really cute because it was like something that I had for a long time that I just wasn't really, like, able to wear anymore because it didn't fit, or if it, like, was really hard for me to style. I got rid of a lot of skirts because I never know what to wear as tops with skirts. Mm-hmm. It's just hard. And, we were able to give it to a friend and know that that friend was, like, really excited about it and, like, looked super cute and it fit them better and stuff like that. So, yeah. It was awesome.
And it's one of those things where you love a piece of clothing so much, like, it's been with you for so many years, you've worn it so many times, and it has, like, this very good memory with it, I feel like, but you can't really wear it anymore, or you realize, like, I have owned this for, like, 10 years.
Yeah.
It's time for it to have a new home, but it's hard to have that separation. So knowing that it's going to actually be worn by someone else and not just dropped off at, like, a Goodwill to probably be eventually thrown away again is nice. You know that it's actually coming back into a house that will love and cherish it for long times.
Well, and it was very cute, too, because I saw some things of yours, like a striped sweater that you had, and you saw, like, a pair of shorts that I had that we remembered seeing each other wear in high school.
Yeah.
Which is just, like, kind of crazy that we had these pieces of clothing for so long, but also kind of fun where it's like, oh, I'm, like, remembering those memories, and then, you know, we're different people and we've changed in fun ways and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's very sentimental. It was all the mushy gushy that I love, but then also with clothes.
Yeah.
Which I think is also something I love.
And mushy gushy in a happy way. Like,
Yes.
you're not just mushy and like, oh, sad. You're like mushy, oh, future.
Yeah, it's like, you know, when you raise your own doves and then you get to see them fly away. We've all had this experience. I've never owned doves. It's
Okay, for a second, I was like, I guess it's possible that Sarah's had this experience when she was a child because it's something her parents would do. But you know what I did raise when I was a child? Chicks. I rose 2 baby chicks.
Cute.
And watching them leave the nest was great, but also really sad because, one of them passed away before they left the nest. And then the other one was adopted by my friend who owned a farm.
Nice.
So, at least it was going to someone I knew.
That's good.
But, so that leads us to Friday. And my Friday was absolutely fantastic because I turned in my thesis. Woohoo! Everybody put out streamers, get the balloons, woo, sparklers, everything. Be so happy because it's in. I have officially completed all of the work necessary to graduate with my master's, and graduation is this coming week. So we finished all of the things. I think I procrastinated for like 30 minutes to an hour actually clicking submit, and like I was nudging like the title over back and forth. I was like, should it be left justified or should it be centered? I don't know. And it was just like, you know, fussing over the small details because it's like, I just was in awe. I couldn't believe that it was actually finished. And it just, I've spent so many hours. I don't even know how many hours of my life have been poured into this final project. It's been a long time coming, and it's been a stressful 2 years of grad school, but a really good 2 years of grad school. Like, I've learned so much, and it feels wild to actually be at a point where it's done. Like, the chapter is closing.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna be probably in shock until I walk across the graduation stage. And it will be hopefully the last time I'm walking across a graduation stage.
Wow.
And I just, very good feelings, but very just like, whoa, we finally gotten here. We've gotten to a point. And now we rest.
And now you rest.
Yeah. So after that, I met one of our friends was having a birthday party in the park, and Sarah and roommate Bella were out there. So I went and met Sarah and watched the sunset on Friday, which was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, to celebrate. And then that leads us to the weekend, unless you want to tell a little bit more about Friday.
Yeah, Friday I threw after work with our other roommate, Matthew, who's a listener. Thanks, fan of the pod. Because it was really sunny. It was one of our more warmer days, which was nice. And then I joined, like Kiera said, a birthday party. I only got the tail end of it, but I did bring the hacky sack, and I did convince people to hacky sack with me for around, 15 minutes. So I think, you know, the people in my life are going to get better at hacky sack, and when you get just mildly better than the base level, you have more stamina because you have more successes.
Yeah.
And so I'm working it into, you know, people's lives.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
She's integrating. She's planting those seeds and waiting for them to sprout.
I have ulterior motives this summer, and they are to make everyone fall in love with playing hacky sack.
I'm into hacky sack, but it's one of those things where you're not into it unless the group's into it.
Right.
And
Very
so
true.
as long as you got the people and everybody is really trying, you're good. But if you have a bunch of people who are just standing and don't care, that is when it goes downhill.
That's good. It's true.
That's when it goes downhill. So
Gotta get the group
we're down.
think.
We're down. And it's about to be warm summer nights because the solstice is around the corner.
Yay.
And we
so excited.
are really, really excited for
It's
that.
crazy. But just know that I'm in awe at the extent to which the year has passed.
Yeah, well, basically, the school year is really time warping, I feel like, in terms of when we're used to having the school year end, which for us is the semester system in May. But in the quarter system, it ends in June. And that's usually like prime summer. Like you've already started summer at that point. So having it now be June, and also that June is just happens to be a really busy month in general, feels like it's basically July.
Yeah, no,
that's where we're at.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, on Saturday, Kiera and I spent the day together, and I'm going to let her tell you about it because it was very fun.
Yes. So for the, thesis turn-in time and the end of the school year fastly approaching, I wanted to throw a little celebration. So I wanted to throw a little bonfire to be able to celebrate the end of the school year, also just being done with such a big project. I know I keep harping on it, but it really was like a big push and felt so good.
Like 140 something pages.
Yeah.
Like, and full pages.
Full pages.
Beautifully designed, crafted, cohesive, 140 pages.
Thank you, Sarah.
I
appreciate the nods.
But it's like, it's so true. It's so true. So anyways, we're celebrating.
Yeah, so we're celebrating. And to organize this, I wanted to have a little beach bonfire, which requires that there be wood to make said bonfire, and also snacks, and also s'mores supplies, which you would think falls into snacks, but it is its own category.
I agree.
So we went to the store, we went around and kind of we rallied the people, made sure people were coming, and we also staked out the bonfire pit, because in Seattle, you used to be able to just make bonfires on the beach, but rules are a little bit in the gray area right now if you can actually light fires. So we're like, there's only one fire pit at this specific beach. We've already told people it's gonna be here, so we have to get the fire pit early.
Yeah.
We did. We played a lot of patty cake, which was great, and we secured the bonfire area. There was a little bit of competition, but we won out at the end of the day. And then we had a great evening. We had a lot of friends come. We roasted some marshmallows, made some s'mores, roasted some hot dogs over the fire.
I love a hot dog on a fire, you guys. Fire dog, there's nothing
Chef's
so
kiss.
Summer.
Yeah.
In like food form, I would say. Unless maybe watermelon.
Yeah, watermelon's up there.
Like watermelon summer day, fire roasted hot dog, summer night.
Totally. I'm with you. But I was doing an amazing job at starting the fire. There's also something primal in our little reptile brain that's like, I make fire, I protect fire, I tend my fire, and this was my fire. And I was doing such a good job of keeping it lit because I got this firewood for free off of a Facebook marketplace. But it was very dense wood. Even though it had been drying for a year, it was still pretty hard to light. So we kept trying to find like twigs and anything we could throw in to keep the coals hot and alive. And it burned out for the whole night. We had to douse it in water as we were leaving. But it was really good. And we got to watch the sunset and be around friends and be very happy. So it was great.
Gorgeous. It was very gorgeous. I will say I had a funny side conversation about the fire, because you had just like got it started up, started lighting it and everything, and one of our roommates was saying, hey, wouldn't it be better if we actually put a log like this? And I was like, no, you don't understand. The person who starts the fire, that is now their fire.
Yeah.
Like they are in possession of the fire.
The firekeeper.
And therefore you can like make suggestion, but don't touch it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like make the suggestion in like I offer this idea to the Fire Lord, sort of way. And we even had a conversation about that as the like day went on, that you were like, the queen of the fire and everyone else was just like your servant.
It was like, get some sticks, get some logs. What are we doing?
We're gonna put it right here. Actually, no, let me put it there. Yeah. Perfect.
I was like, give me the poking fire stick.
It was so funny. It was very funny. But yeah, no, it was a great. You threw a good party. It was really fun. I made the potluck meatballs,
which were fantastic.
Hugely big
A highlight.
hit, I would say. I will never stop making them for potlucks because they're stupid easy and stupid delicious. So hit me up if you want the recipe. Just kidding. It's literally just meatballs.
And
You can
barbecue
get
sauce.
freezer meatballs. It's easy. Barbecue sauce and grape jelly.
Which is the real secret ingredient.
It's
You
true.
gotta have that sweetness.
Exactly. So, yeah, no, it was a totally awesome night. Totally awesome Saturday. On Sunday, Kiera and I both had pretty fun days out. It was really rainy here, and it's been really windy since then. Weather has been odd.
But it's supposed to be nice starting in a couple days and hopefully
Yeah.
nice for the foreseeable future. We cross our fingers and hope.
I'm like, in my head, wind brings change, right? Because we all saw Mary Poppins.
Yes.
Winds to the east. And so I'm like, okay, it's really windy. That means that we're blowing all the cold air out and bringing the warm air in. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm manifesting. But yeah, on Sunday, I just went around with one of our roommates and we kind of just did a bunch of errands, but we dressed it up as like having a fun day out where, you know, we got a wedding gift for a friend. I ended up getting a record, which was very fun. And we went and got coffee at a different cafe than we usually go to, went to a bookstore, you know, just generally had fun doing the retail shopping moments. And we're pretty good at avoiding being outside in the rain while it was like coming down.
Yeah, it was pouring in the way that you will definitely get like your hair wet and dripping wet if you're out in a for any period of time, really.
Mm-hmm.
But I also did a good job of staying out of the rain because I went to the Pacific Science Center for the first time. I had been to a laser show at the planetarium before, but I had never been actually in the Pacific Science Center, which is definitely geared towards kids but still has like a lot of fun things for you to do and explore. And it was great. It was like there's so much joy to these simple little experiments. Like they have the tubes that blow air up and then you throw the balls in and then the balls go up, or you have all of these torque machines that, you know, make things heavier or lighter depending on where you're pulling them, and then they have things where you touch it and it shocks you and you're like, wow, electricity. And they have a butterfly pavilion, and it was all just like very fun, and we could see the rain outside and we were also not in the rain. One thing that's really great about the Pacific Science Center is they have all these water features and these squirt guns that you can squirt at different targets and then they'll move or spin things.
That's fun.
So that was cool. And then we went and got food. And basically, I just ate so much food on Sunday. Everywhere we went, we were eating food. Basically, we had like sit down foods and then we had snacky foods and then we came home and roommates had made a wonderful dinner. Really, Matthew. Thank you, Matthew. Shout out to you. You had a great dinner.
Shout out, chef. One of the places we went to was a bookstore, but we did not know until we went in that it was only cookbooks. But Matthew ended up getting a cookbook, and I said, you know, Matthew, to justify the cost of getting this cookbook, you need to cook with it, you know, at least as many times as the dollars that it cost you. So I think that we will probably have some more really good meals in our future because it was not a cheap cookbook.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So yeah, it was very fun, very nice, and the wind pushed the clouds in such a way, it was crazy. If I have a good picture, or if Kiera has a good picture of the clouds, we might put it on our Instagram.
Yeah, the clouds were moving so fast, and it was a beautiful sunset, very vibrant colors, and it was just a great weekend for me at least. It was the first time that I didn't have a deadline in a very long time.
Wow, yeah.
So I was just feeling very good and very happy. I was like, I could just not do anything right now. There's nothing holding me to doing any task. Amazing.
Could sleep in forever.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. But that is kind of what our weekend was like, and now we're here. So we should probably get into this week's episode theme.
So our episode this week is all centered around field day. So imagine little tots, you have a day right before school gets out, say maybe at the end of May, right where we are kind of a little bit earlier than where we are in the year, I guess. But still same weather. It's sunny. The grass is growing. You're just so excited for the summer to come and to be done with school. You get put onto teams. I'm describing something that I never really experienced, but I've seen in the media. You get put onto teams and you compete in athletic events. Kira's letting me know if I'm doing this right or not right by nodding at me. You run around and probably do something with like dodgeballs.
Okay.
I'm so sure.
So you're not. Every school probably does field day a little bit differently.
Nice.
At my school, it was completely an outdoor event. But we also had something called the carnival, the fall carnival, which would happen. That was field day-esque at the fall time. And then we had, well, obviously it was fall carnival. When else would it be?
That makes sense.
And then we had field day, which was in the springtime. And there were certain things that could be individual. And then there were certain things that were kind of group activities.
Cool.
And for the group activity, the big one where you got put on a team, is we had a giant mush ball tournament. And you might be asking, what is mush ball?
I am asking that.
Mush ball is basically like Little League softball.
Oh, I
So-
thought it was going to have to do with dodgeball.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We would go out to the baseball diamond and they'd make it really small for us. And we would hit I actually think it was a wiffle ball
Oh, yeah.
with a bat.
like the
so-
plastic balls with holes in them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you run around and it's the same rules as baseball. And you get put on teams and you have a bracket. So, like, there are losers, there are winners.
Wow.
I think there was a consolation bracket.
Nice.
I remember one year doing really good and my team winning, which was crazy.
Wow.
There were not that many teams. Only 3rd through 5th graders could do it.
Oh.
So you were only put on a mush ball team if you were like the upperclassmen of the elementary
Of the
schools.
elementary school?
Now, I will say I think this was unique to my school. And the mush ball tournament, my memory is failing me, might not have been completely overlapping with field day.
Oh,
It was at
okay.
the same time of year, but field day was a singular day.
Yeah.
Whereas the mush ball tournament might have been multiple days.
Right.
Yeah.
For multiple games.
For multiple games for the bracket. You know, you can't have kids running around for that many games.
Come on, they
Get tired.
sleepy.
They get tired and sleepy.
That's fun.
But the rest of the field day activities were like the 3-legged race and relay races and a lot of things where you're just running around. One of them was like who could throw the frisbee the furthest.
Oh, man.
And things like that. And you could win prizes.
That's cool.
The prizes were very small, like little twine bracelets or little like bouncy balls
Yeah.
or something like
But
that.
if you had a bouncy ball, everyone would know that you won a field day event.
Exactly. You know,
That's
you had the
cool.
slap bracelets. It was good. Life was
Super cool.
great. And you could go around to all of these different stations and you could participate multiple times. I just vividly remember the 3-legged race. And that's where you have one partner and you tie your legs that are closest to the center together and you have to walk together. Basically, you have to start with your like right leg and they have to start with their left leg, but then you have to move the middle legs together and then you go around some cones and you come back. And then if you have a 3-legged man relay race,
Whoa.
then you have multiple teams of 2.
Wow.
It gets really serious.
It sounds super serious. Were you good at this?
I was good at this.
Nice. That makes sense.
I had great leg coordination. Balance, I don't know, but leg coordination, yes.
Did you say as you were walking outside, inside, outside, inside, outside,
Yeah.
inside?
Or you go 1, 2, 1, 2,
Oh,
1,
nice.
2. Like you have to have a rhythm. And you have to have a good partner. There are
Right.
some people who are simply very bad.
Well, sometimes, I don't know if you experience this, but I was always a very long-legged child compared to the other children. And so it was particularly difficult if my hip was, 6 inches higher than another person's hip.
Yeah.
Because then I'd have to, they'd have to either have a very long stride or I would have to shorten my stride.
Exactly.
It's hard stuff.
But we would also have games that were team games, kind of like Capture the Flag was one of them, I remember.
That's fun.
There was a soccer game. I was never good at soccer, so I kind of just stayed away from that one.
Yeah.
And those weren't really bracketed or anything like that. But that's kind of the gist of our field day. I think the penultimate thing before, like, the end of the day, like, right before you'd be at the end, we would do tug-of-war.
Oh.
And we would have a parents' tug-of-war. So the parents would come, we would have the children go first, just kids.
So was
and then
it
the parents would come
multiple
in and
kids?
help. Yes, it
Okay.
was every single person in the grade.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a small school, so it wasn't that many kids. You
But
probably had
still.
like 30 kids.
Dang.
Split in half for the
Okay.
grade. So 15
Nice.
on each side. And then you would add the parents in.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
super fun.
Yeah, and there was never mud in the middle, but there was water in the middle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dang.
And then you get pulled into the water.
That's so funny. Did you win tug of war?
We probably won at some point because there's always got to be a winner and a loser, and you got a 50-50 odds.
Nice.
But I lost my fair share of tug of wars.
Oh, that's
I've
funny.
never stood in the front, so I never had to worry about getting too
Too
damp.
slimed. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was fun.
That sounds super fun. So for the listeners who don't know, which arguably might be a lot of you, I went to a charter school growing up. For those of you who are in the States and are knowledgeable, a charter school is kind of like halfway between a public school and a private school. It is not a place that people would automatically go. Like, you have to choose to have your kid go to a charter school, but it's also not a school that you have to pay tuition at for your child to be a student. Just structure-wise, like, the PTA or PTO, like, the parents have a lot more say in, like, the school's organization and structure than normal public schools, because I don't really understand funding of them. Like, they get public funding
Yeah.
from the state in a similar way, because they're, like, supplementing overpopulated public schools, but it's also just interesting. Like, they have mildly more, like, autonomy and freedom
Yeah.
in terms of, like, curriculum particularly. Anyways, so I went to a charter school. It was for a K through 8, so kindergarten through 8th grade. Again, like, Kiera went to school in a small town. I went to school in a bigger town. Definitely still town, not city.
Yeah. Town, not city.
Yeah, but because I went to a charter school, I also had about 30 people in my grade. And because it was K through 8, we, like, knew each other for 9 years, which is kind of crazy. And also, my charter school, just particularly fun getting into the lore of things, was, like, founded and had its first year in operation when I was in kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
So we were the first grade to go. Kiera knows all of this already. But we were the first grade to go all the way through, which made us feel special, and all of the teachers liked us because we felt special, and so they
Yeah.
felt special when they taught us, and it was cute, and everyone was
And you're the
having a great
first
time.
graduating class that had
Right.
done all of your years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, as a class, we were particularly, like, chummy in terms of, like, we got along pretty well. There was definitely a social hierarchy, as there is in all, like,
In
tiny
all
child environments. But we were definitely, like, very motivated to work as a group when it came to school events. So we never had field day, but we had lots of different fundraisers, which I think, like, is kind of why I brought up the funding thing at the beginning. But one of our, like, so we had penny wars and things like that.
Penny Wars, love that.
Yeah, and my grade was just known for winning things.
Wow.
Like, we were the it grade, you know? And so Penny Wars, there was, like, 2 or 3 parents that, like, would go all in and, like...
Buy so many pennies.
Right, like, insert name here. There was one kid whose, like, parent brought, like, $50 in pennies, like, the last day of the penny war.
And just dumps them in.
And just, like, we loaded it on top, you know? And I just have, like, this very clear memory of all of the other grades really disliking us because we won all the time.
For those of you who don't know, Penny Wars is basically when you have all of these jars in the different classrooms, and pennies count towards positive points, and then any silver or dollars is negative. So if someone puts, a $5 bill in your pennies, that's negative 500 pennies. So you have
Exactly.
to build that back up. And that's why when you're bringing in $50 worth of pennies, that's a big deal. That's
Yeah.
a lot of pennies.
Right, it was huge. Well, and they brought it in on the last day, so people from other classes couldn't, like, counteract us, so we still won.
Yeah.
Even though there were a couple of teachers from other grades who had thrown in, like, a $5 bill. You know,
Knowing preemptively.
Exactly. So all of this is to, like, set you up for the idea that my grade got really into school competition things. Enter the hawk walk. What is that, you say? This sounds like a weird version of a field day. It's not really. It's just an outside activity that I told Kiera would be close enough for this episode's theme. So,
Perfect.
the hawk walk is thus named because our mascot was a nighthawk, and just for all of you listeners out there, please visualize the weirdest cartoon bird that you can, and that was close to what our mascot was. And because we were just created, like, semi-recently, people had, like, a competition where they could submit color combinations and mascot ideas. And I remember filling this out because I remember I was, like, really little, and I was like, I want it to be a unicorn, obviously.
Obviously. What
and,
else?
like, I want it to be, like, green and pink or something like that, right? Because, like, that was just where I was. But the thing that won was a nighthawk, very weird looking cartoon. No hate, all the hate. And our colors were purple and orange.
Ooh.
The worst colors.
Just, they're good on their own and really bad together.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Like, are there
Ugh.
any other colors on the color wheel in combination, like, you know, of the Roy G. Bibbs or whatever,
That
like,
look
any
worse?
two colors that would look worse together? I'd like to argue no.
Yeah, I mean, yellow and purple is also bad, and that's
Yeah.
very close to orange and purple, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I think orange and purple is still
Takes the
worse.
cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because blue and orange is harsh, but it's
harsh.
still...
But they're actually direct opposites, you know?
Yeah.
Just like green and red, a little bit weird. Actually, yeah, that'd be bad too.
Yeah.
But not
For
maybe as
school,
bad.
it
For
would
school.
be a lot for the eyeball.
We're just judging school colors, and you know,
Yeah.
if these are your school colors, don't feel offended.
Don't
They're
feel
just
offended.
bad objectively.
You probably weren't the one that submitted it in the competition. I'm just specifically coming for one person at my school who wrote down the color combination of purple and orange. We all suffered because of your idea. Thank you. Anyway, all of this aside, Hawk Walk. It was a fundraiser where they put out a big, like, mapped out route that was, I don't know, maybe a quarter of a mile or half a mile. No, it had to have been a quarter of a mile.
Yeah, I mean, kids aren't going that far.
Right?
Come on.
Yeah. So on this big field that was behind our school, and you would have people in your family, in your life, pledge a certain amount of dollars for each completed lap that you made. So my father would be like, yes, I am going to give you $2 for every quarter-mile lap that you make over the course of a day. And I don't know if we were out there for a full day. I feel like we were only out there walking around for 2 hours at most.
Yeah, again, you're kids.
Right, exactly. And so you can do quite a few laps in 2 hours. And also you can get pretty bored in 2 hours. And I'm going to be honest, not an athletic kid over here. I did not do very many laps. I did not work very hard to get very many pledges. But you were required to get like 5 to 10 pledges.
Sure.
Yeah. So it was like, if nothing else, you're going to make at least $10 every time you're walking around in a circle. Anyways, not the most important part. Very boring compared to competitions that you got to do in field day things. But the thing that was fun, and the thing that I want to talk about, I know that it took a while getting here, was that each hawk walk was themed. And girl loves a theme.
Sarah
And
does love a theme.
I love a theme, and I come by it so honestly because my parents love a theme.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know how much excitement my parents had for me in high school, just imagine I'm a little bit younger and a little more malleable, and parents have a little bit more ability to be involved in school themage. And my
Totally.
parents were like all in.
Yeah.
You know? And so each time there would be like a class competition for who won the Spirit Award. So we already have a target on our back because we always win the Penny Wars and other associated fundraiser things. And so my class you'd each get like a different thing within the theme. So one of them that I can remember well right now is that we all had like colors. And so I believe this was fourth grade. I'm not gonna claim that that's correct, but we got the color blue. And so it's like, okay, how do we do something that's like more exciting than just blue? And so my mom was like, you know those blue crew drummer people?
Oh my goodness.
So we all wore blue, and then my mom brought in a bunch of different items that we could use to have like a jam session.
Oh
like
my
essentially
gosh.
a drum circle. And so we had like buckets, and people had like drumsticks, and people had like tambourines, pots and pans, and she gave everyone like a different group that they could be in. You could be in a bucket group or a tub group or whatever, and then everyone got a rhythm that they were supposed to do. And so like some people were just like 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, and then other people were like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So she was teaching people rhythms and also how to have fun with music using household items. And also we all just drenched ourselves. We didn't drench ourselves. We all wore so much blue clothing that you could not tell that we were humans almost.
Wow.
Like the hats, the scarves. This is the early 2000s, okay? We have belts, on tank tops,
all the layers.
skirts, jeans, boots, everything. We were so blue, and we won, obviously. And I can't remember, I believe we had won the year previous, and I can't remember what the theme was, but we were on like a roll of sorts, and so the next year they were like, we can't have these people win again.
Yeah.
We have to make it really difficult for them.
We have to do a theme that they can't do well in.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't really know who was in charge. Well, okay. I might have this a little bit out of order. But we did do colors again. And when we did colors again, this was the time when we lost. And they tried to make it really difficult for us. We were doing silver and gold. It's like silver and gold. Those are hard colors.
Yeah.
It's hard colors to wear. And also hard colors to like make something creative out of.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. We sang the song Silver and Gold from the Rudolph claymation movie.
Oh my goodness.
It was cute. And then we all had little signs that were like silver on one side and gold on one side, and we tried to do like a coordinated dance by flipping the cardboard. It did not work very well. Some other team, whatever, some other grade won that time. But we also did countries, and the country we got was South Korea.
Wow.
Which is like, I don't know, not a place that you learn about a lot as a small child in elementary school.
Not in the American school system, no.
Right. So it was like a more difficult country for us to do. But riddle me this, it was either a parent or a long-term substitute teacher had lived in South Korea or had South Korean like family members. And so she taught us a song, and it was like about like Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear, and it had little hand signals and everything, and it was in Korean.
Yeah.
So it was like Appa Gom, Oma Gom, and something Gom, like I can't remember the word.
I know exactly what song you're talking about.
I'm so glad.
Because I am an Asian adoptee, and that is one of the songs that they had at the Asian adoptee network that I was part of. So I would listen to when other people did songs, and that was one of the songs.
That's so cute.
At least I remember the bear songs.
Yeah. No, for sure. It was super cute, and we also won that year because we just did the countries so good, and we would always try and do a little extra thing, and a lot of the other grades didn't.
Yeah, they were like, we're just gonna wear a color.
Just gonna wear clothes, and so it was just like really fun, and we got really into it all the time. Our final year was 8th grade, so we had I believe our silver and gold year had to have been 7th grade. Oh, Oh my gosh, there was also like a through the decades, 60s, 70s, etc. And so you were the thing that your grade was. And
That's
so
good.
we learned the hustle. My
Ooh.
mom taught her whole grade the hustle. Now, looking back, a little rough. My outfit may be bad because I had a ginormous afro wig,
Oh
which is
gosh.
like not super great. But at the time, I had so much fun wearing that wig.
It was unfortunately like the time, you know, like it was
Yeah.
the early 2000s, not justifying like obviously doing that now and obviously being an adult now, but as
Right.
like a small impressionable child whose parents are from a different generation, like it
Yeah.
checks out.
Yeah. Yeah. And the hustle, it was very fun because it's like my mom loves dancing, loves teaching dancing. She would always volunteer and do the square dancing unit because there was a square dancing unit in our PE classes.
We also had a square dancing unit.
Shout out Colorado's state dance. Also happens to be the state dance of a lot of states. I
Yeah.
heard.
Wild West, I guess.
I think it's one of the only like truly American dance styles.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we did that, had a great time. I have one more to tell about. It was 8th grade. This was the only time that my parents weren't leading the fight.
Okay.
We fully organized ourselves, and it was, I think the whole entire school had a hero theme.
Okay.
So it was not so much, each different grade gets a different thing because they really didn't want us to win again. So they didn't want us to be able to make ourselves specific to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
And so yet again, we were like, we have to do something special. We have to do something more than just wearing outfits and go into the hawk walk. What are we gonna do? And so I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Shrek where they have the I need a hero.
Yeah.
I'm
A
holding out for a
classic.
hero till the end of the night.
If you don't know that, go watch the movie. Goodness gracious, you're missing out on on an American classic.
It is. It's so good. And so we had the dancers of the grade, one of which Kiera knows. Very cool person who is now a performer. Organized all of the people who had dancing abilities, and they choreographed a little bit of a song, and then other people sang the song. Like, it wasn't fully karaoke, but people were like singing,
Yeah,
and
they were
then
going all out.
everyone else that didn't really want to do either of those artistic things just had signs that looked like comic books, like "pow!" And in the middle of one of the parts of the song, there was like a fight scene, and that's what I was.
Nice.
We had like hero fights, and so we were like fighting, and then at points of the song, we'd like slow motion fight, and I got to pretend to get punched and then just like fall back on the ground. It was very fun.
That sounds perfect. I think it's amazing that your class did so much. I also think that the might of your parents to have you succeed was a huge factor. Obviously, we did not go to the same school, but knowing Sarah's parents, they would stop at nothing for a good theme. And Sarah is of the bloodline and would also stop at nothing to follow through on a theme.
For sure.
So the appreciation is so there.
Yeah.
But that was actually something on my list of things that we also had as outdoor activities. Like, I was going to broaden it a little bit from field day, recognizing that field day is a bit niche, especially for you.
Thanks.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's good.
We had something similar called the Jogathon.
Oh, nice.
And it was the same exact premise. You had to get pledges from people, and then you had to run around for so many hours. But I realized ours wasn't as fun because it wasn't themed. We got this t-shirt that was super ugly, and we had to wear the t-shirt.
Boo.
So it felt like punishment, not only because we were being made to run around in circles for what felt like an indefinite amount of time, but also because we had to wear a really ugly shirt, usually over the outfit we were already wearing, so we were extra warm, which just seems bad for fundraising.
Yeah, it does.
And we had a couple star runners, so what would happen is you had these charms that you would get if you made it a certain amount of miles throughout the whole year. This wasn't just the jogathon,
Oh.
but you'd get like a 5 mile or a 10 mile, and
Wow.
you'd get little like feet that did those mile markers. And I just felt personally attacked by the amount of praise that we got for running and running fast. I was like, this is so not fair. And I'm sure that's how people feel about anything that you're being judged on in terms of academia.
Probably.
Like, come on. This is stupid. But Jogathon, I personally had a horrible experience with. And I was like, why is this centerfold? It feels just as bad as the mile did as you were in like middle school or in high school and you had to run a mile in like the fastest time, and were being directly compared to other people who were completing it at the same time. Like they were watching you finish as they were like sitting on the ground, you know, being done.
Yeah.
Or you were jogging around this stupid circle and they were continuously passing you.
Yeah.
So I know that's how people feel in all different elements, but I felt personally attacked by the jogathon. I'm happy you had a good experience, though.
Thanks. I'll be honest, I walked that stuff all the time. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't have to run, and so not a lot of people did.
I think you could walk, but the shame of walking was high. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
tough.
like you weren't forced to run the whole time, but it was up there.
Yeah.
In terms of other things that I did when we were young that also were outdoorsy / active,
100%.
we had a rope climb.
Oh.
I don't know if you had to do that, but only in elementary school. It did not carry on through middle and high school. We had 2 giant ropes, and you would one by one have to climb up this rope.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
vertically
Vertically up. You had big mats
I would
underneath
never be
you.
able to do that.
I was able to do it. Also, I was in my prime in elementary school. In terms of athletic ability,
That's so
the
funny.
muscle to weight ratio was like as good as it's ever gonna be.
That's wild.
And I was also in gymnastics at that time, so I could climb the rope with only my hands.
No way.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
it was crazy.
so crazy.
I just remember though, when I was young, I couldn't do it. When I started being in gymnastics, I could do it. And before gymnastics, if you couldn't make it all the way up, you had 2 tries, and then they would let you off and you wouldn't have to do it again. But they, like, everybody was watching. You had to stand in these 2 lines and just try to climb the rope. And a lot of people couldn't make it up, but it was super gratifying to get to the top and ring the bell.
Wow.
But it was really tall.
That sounds really terrible.
Yeah.
I arguably, maybe not in my athletic prime right now, but like it was recent.
Yeah.
You know, I was never athletic as a child. I was too busy growing really fast and being gangly. Like, and I was heavier than a lot of kids because I was taller than a lot of kids, you know? So
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know how to function in this body I'm in.
Yeah, and
Ah.
the body is moving and growing and changing.
Yeah.
But in addition to the
that's
rope
crazy.
climb, we also had a giant net, which was significantly safer. But it was just a net that was connected to the ceiling that was all kind of checkered, but the inside was hollow, so you could grab and
Like
go
a ladder.
up. Kind of
but
like a
made out of
ladder.
rope.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but it was long.
Yeah.
So there were so many rungs, and you could probably have like 4 or 5 kids climbing up and down.
Wow.
And what we would do is everyone would get so excited when the ropes would come down, because it was rope climb day, because the net would also come down. Because the net was everyone could be successful at the net.
Yeah.
And that was fun still.
Nice.
Because you could have 4 points of contact. Not everyone was successful at the rope climb. But it's one of those quintessential American things
Yeah.
that you kind of forget about happened.
Right. Well, I remember, I don't know what TV show I was watching. I feel like it was Boy Meets World or something. And I saw a rope climb happen, and I was like, what an odd thing to have in a TV show. And then it was also in something like Hannah Montana or so. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I did not realize that this was a shared experience that I didn't share.
It's a shared experience for public school, but it's also something that I feel like might not happen anymore. I haven't talked to many children, granted. I haven't talked to them on a real level in a while, so I don't know if these rope climbs are still a thing. But I would venture to say no in terms of safety and like comparing yourself to other kids.
Yeah, I
What are
mean,
your thoughts?
it sounds like you haven't talked to very many children on a personal level lately.
What can I say? I run in different circles these days.
I don't know why that was so funny, but it was. I don't know. I don't think that I would have enjoyed having to participate in these things. It feels very akin to in older school, in middle school. Honestly, my middle school, elementary school experience was all one big blur because same school, same people, you know? But it makes me think of the pacer test.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Which, like,
let's talk about these.
Comparison is bad, and I was bad at it, so I think I'd hate it as well.
Well, they had in American school systems, they also have the like presidential fitness awards. And hopefully they also had this at charter schools. You're nodding, so it seems like they did.
Yeah.
But that included pacer tests, which was kind of these timed exercises that you tried to do a certain thing as much as you could in like a minute. So it was like, how many crunches could you do in a minute? How many push-ups could you do in a minute? How many shuttle runs could you do in a minute? How long could you stretch over a board and meet, like, how many inches could you stretch? And they'd record these. And in my school, you got awards if you got over a certain percentile.
Really?
They awarded both academic achievement, and they would have award ceremonies for that, but they would also award, like, presidential fitness things if you got over, like, the 85th percentile or something.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, you seem like you would really hate it.
Can you imagine if they did that nowadays? Like, Mr. Jim Bro lifts heavy weight. Well, okay, to be fair, I guess they do.
They do.
That's wild. I don't know. Like, what can I say? I just don't run in the same circles.
She runs
wild.
in very different circles.
That's super wild.
Yeah, and I remember feeling like horrible about the push-ups just because you are in a line of kids and you have this kind of button. Basically your chest has to hit the button and then it will count it for you, and somebody is in front of you watching you, making sure you don't cheat, and because you can like double tap them and then they'll count twice.
Wow.
And I, first of all, as a kid, I think I could probably do significantly more push-ups than I could now, but it still wasn't that many.
Fair.
And you had only a certain amount of time, but you could also quit at any time.
Nice.
Which was great, except for you felt horrible when there's just these like kids pushing up crazy.
Yeah.
And also the sit-ups, because you're literally looking to your left and right and seeing people move up and down and up and down, and somebody's holding your ankles and they're counting for you.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was bad. The shuttle runs I was always very good at. I was good at these little sprint things, and I was very good at the flexibilities. And then we also had pull-ups. Nobody was doing pull-ups. It was ridiculous. And it was a bad day. When you walked in and you saw the pacers out, you just were like, this is a test that I have not studied for.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do everything that we were meant to do because, again, slight amounts of leniency. And so we did definitely the stretching one. I was very bad at that because I, again, was so long and therefore, like, just not very flexible because my body was moving, like, it was extending away from me. I don't know how to impress upon the group. I was not very coordinated and very silly. And then we did the running ones. I was honestly pretty good at the running ones because I would always get there, like, right at the end. So I'd conserve my energy more than a lot of people did because they just want to, like, get there first.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good. I always made it past the, like, oh, good, like, you've passed the test in terms of, like, you're physically fit, but I only ever did it, like, 1 to 2, like, paces or, like, laps longer than that point because I just didn't care.
Well, ours was not the amount of laps you could do. It was you had to sprint from one line to a middle line, and then back to the starting line, and then to the far line and back.
Oh.
And they measured how fast you could do it, how many seconds it took you.
We're talking about different things.
It was all about competition. Everything was like you get a number and you are ranked. Do.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when it says boop, and then you have until it does the next boop to get to the other side.
Oh.
And then it gets shorter and shorter time increments.
Got you. Why did not do that?
You didn't do that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, God. It's like a special kind of hell.
Yeah.
Because as you get tired, you have to be going faster.
Yeah.
Because you get something like 10 seconds to do the first one, and you're like, I can just walk. And then the next one, it's like 9 seconds, or I don't know. It goes down by less large increment than that.
Yeah.
But still, you're like, okay, I'm walking. Okay, I'm walking a little bit faster. Okay, I'm jogging. I'm jogging faster. I'm jogging faster. I'm getting really tired, but I just have to haul butt to the other side of the, like, thing to make it there on time. And the gym teacher's, like, watching to make sure that everyone has, like, passed the line when the second boop goes or whatever. But yeah, so you had to, I think it was, like, 30, and you were like at the fit level that you want to be.
30?
Like 30, like
Runs,
going one.
sprints.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But you like remember like the first like 4, you're not like
Really moving.
running.
Yeah. You're just kind of going at your normal pace. Wow.
Yeah. It was pretty wild. I will not lie. I hated it.
Quite simply, I hated it.
I did. I hated it so much. But yeah, so we had that, and we did the flexibility thing, which is the same as you. Like, you put your feet against this board, and then you try and see how much further past you can reach your like fingers past your toes. And then we didn't do, or at least I don't remember, I might have blocked it out because it was traumatic, like push-ups or sit-ups, but we did do the hang, which was like, you're not doing a pull-up, but you like get into pull-up position, and then you see how many seconds you can hang there before falling.
I think that's what we did too.
I was so good at it.
I was much better at that one because you can just like lock in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like I had, and I do think that in some ways still have, very strong fingers. And so I could just like hank and clamp down, and I could just I had like an iron will on that one. So that was pretty killer. I was like, ah, yes, I have done some amount of athleticism.
Yeah, wow. Ugh, and the good things that came out of elementary school PE were definitely not the pacer tests or the rope climbs. Mm-mm. You know what they were? They were the parachute days.
The friends we made along the way.
Also, if you got dragged under in Sharks and Minnows, or it wasn't Sharks and Minnows.
So fun,
but
yes.
Where you would you basically had this big sheet, which was kind of a parachute-like thing, and all of the kids would hold on to these different handles to keep the air inside. You would ruffle it around so it looked kind of like waves, and there'd be a person who was it, and they would grab people's feet and suck them under the parachute.
So fun.
And then they would also become it, and you would continually try to grab people until there wasn't enough people to hold on to the parachute anymore, and then the game would end.
It was the best.
So much fun. There were a ton of games with parachutes, honestly.
Oh yeah.
And whenever that got brought out and you saw it, it was like, it's a good day.
Yes.
It is a great day. And we get to run around and have fun.
Did you have the scooters? They're not scooters like
the sitting
wheels?
scooters?
Yes. Yes.
I was about to skip to that.
Oh my gosh.
The sitting scooters. They're like 4 wheels and a piece of plastic on top that have handles.
You could never have more fun at like period ever? I don't know.
Ever.
I think that's just the peak of human existence.
You sit on them.
you sit on them, you lay on them, you push people, you crash towards other people.
You create trains.
Yes, no, literally. You can like, sometimes they could like lock together or something, so you could make like a raft.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and those came out and you got to pick your color.
So fun.
And then all you did was scoot around on your little wheels.
We would do like relay races and stuff, and like, oh my gosh, it was so fun.
Who can go fastest forward? Okay, who can go fastest backwards?
Yeah,
and you just move around and move around.
Oh, the best.
Additionally, We also had some very random days in PE, which were the scarf days. They would bring out the scarf. I know you were not expecting me to say that. They would bring out these multicolored neon scarves, and then we would just throw them around like an hour. And then we'd put all the scarves back in the bin, and we're like, what a great day. We would also have cup stacking day.
Yes. My brother got so into that. He had one of the timers and the mats and the special kits.
So these cups, it's exactly what you think. You have regular cups, and then you stack them in a pyramid. And it's kind of like you try to do it as fast as you possibly can. You didn't see it, but Sarah just modeled out what it was and then hit the buzzer to stop it. But basically, you would stack all these cups, and then you had to stack them back in one all together after you'd made the pyramid. And then once you hit the ground again or like hit the table, the timer would stop, and we'd have these special people come in from who knows where trying to sell us these cups.
They're the best.
Additionally, last one, I promise, we had the Chinese yo-yos.
No. This is not a relatable experience.
And a Chinese yo-yo has like two kind of bowls on each side that are connected by one dowel, so it's like this. Yeah. And then you have two sticks with a string, and you move the sticks up and down to get the bowls to like spin. And you can throw them up in the air, and then you can catch them, and then you can spin them again, and then you can do all these little tricks and things. And oh my gosh, those things sold like hotcakes. They were making bank off of these elementary schools. But whenever we'd have one of these special days, we were selling Chinese yo-yos, we were selling cups, we were selling scarves. Like, it was wild. It was good. PE in elementary school was at its peak. There were a couple blights in the pacer tests and the mile, but after that, it all just went downhill because we were all smelling worse and doing worse. That's my hot take for the night.
That's so funny. I'm still stuck on the cup day. Like, I loved cup day. And we do, like, tournaments where there'd be a bunch of tables and you'd, like, get to go and, like, move up or move down in the tournament. And, oh, man, I loved that. It's so good. So good.
It's a core memory. It's one of those that I had to dust off a little, but then when I remembered, I was like, wow, this was a gold mine. This is a gold mine.
Did you ever, this was another day that we would have, and it was simply just the put on music that tells you how to dance day. It was like so weird. It was like we would have essentially like imagine the Cupid Shuffle, but like more elementary schooler little kid. I'm specifically thinking of one song. I'm going to sing it for you now.
Sounds good.
And there were little like motions that you would do with it, and so I will describe the motions after I'm done singing it, and Kiera will get to see it free time, and you will see if that is the case, and then we'll be done with this episode. But it was Tony Chestnut, wait no, so there we go. Tony Chestnut knows I love you. Tony knows, Tony knows, Tony Chestnut knows, wait, nut knows I love you, that's what Tony knows. And then there were a bunch of different parts where it was like, and there's wrestle, and then you'd wrestle your shirt, and skip, and then you'd skip. This song is silly, but it's hip, and then you point at your hip, and then there'd be like, something, and his sister, Eileen, and then you'd lean.
Aw, that's so cute.
And it was very weird, but it was fun. And for the group, I did a really bad job of pointing to my nose and my knees, and my toes, but just know that that was the idea.
Yeah, Sarah was doing a really awesome job at trying to mimic the motions that go to these songs, but she wasn't quite pointing to the right body part, which is why there was a lot of movement in the sounds that you just heard.
I couldn't remember where I couldn't because the nut you like knock on your head like a coconut. And I got to that point of the song and I was like, where am I?
Well, I at first I thought you were just doing a knockoff head, shoulders, knees, and toes, and I was like,
well, that's what I was
Sarah.
doing too, is that I started doing head, shoulders, knees, and toes, and I was like, wait, no, I have to start with the toes because it's Tony.
Yeah.
That's so
Oh my
confusing.
gosh. So, we hope you enjoyed this episode. We had a great time skipping down memory lane. And we should host a field day.
That'd be really
We
fun.
know that it's on our summer bucket list
It is.
to have an Olympics event, and some field day activities could take place there.
Oh, for sure. If we could buy an elementary school, like,
Cup?
parachute.
Oh. Yes.
Basically the same thing.
Both. Maybe
same
both.
idea. Same idea. That would be really fun.
We could invest in these things for sure.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode or had any good field day experiences that feel unique to you, you should let us know what they were. Because
Please.
we're sure there's a lot of hidden memories tucked in that brain of yours.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any great memories from PE, let us know. We didn't even get into the square dancing units. Come on.
Oh my gosh.
We have tons of stories. So we might dig into some more elementary school lore in the future.
Yeah, and also make sure to share this episode with your field day mates.
Yeah.
Who were you in a three-legged race with?
Who would be your three-legged race partner?
Perfect. Who did you always beat in the jogathon? Who had more little shoes than you in the jogathon? Then the I can't do this. Send them. I've never had a lisp, you guys. It's just happening to me right now because everything's silly. Send them this episode and make sure to let them know that they can listen to it on YouTube and on Spotify, and that they can go ahead and follow our Instagram. We're at Arguably Speaking on Instagram, and we also have an email, which is Arguably Speaking. Why are you laughing?
We post episodes every Wednesday, and we have a ton of fun. We were really warming up this episode, but we hope you stuck around to the end, because it really just got better and better. But in that news, what am I trying to say?
We're gonna be done with the episode now. Tell us you liked it. We'll see you next time on
Arguably Speaking.